Yeah, it's been a great year starting out for you, man. The presentation holds true, huh? I love that. The presentation holds true. Yeah, we'll get a few minutes. I won't be before you long.
Recording in
But
progress.
I'm absolutely excited about the information we're going to share today. And again, it won't take long to share the information that we have because, like a lot of people here, I mean, we saw it and it just made sense. So, make sure that you're sending out those last minute texts. Get your teams on the line. Let them know that we are still in business. Leadership, yes, they are in California, but we are right here because all of us are leaders, right? And we are sharing this amazing opportunity to share with the world how they can have better energy, better water, better security for their family. So let's give it a few more minutes. Send out those last minute texts to your teams. Send out those last minute texts to all of your guests. Let them know that you have something special and they do not want to miss it. Again, my name is Landon Taylor out of Houston, Texas, by way of Jackson, Mississippi. And again, I'm absolutely excited. So if you've not announced where you are dialing in from or joining from, just do so. Give it a few seconds. Just let me know where you're dialing in from.
Robert, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan.
Hey, welcome, Michigan in the house. Who else do we have?
Here's Leroy from St. Louis.
Mr. Woodard, always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Soon to be in California, right?
Brad.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. Who else?
Emma Artist, the DMV.
Miss Emma, how are you?
I'm blessed, thank you, dear. How are you?
I am fantastic. Are you wearing those amazing glasses right now? Because I need to buy my wife some.
Praise the Lord. I had broken them yesterday and I had to go out today and find me another pair. God is so good to me. I was able to find the same style. Thank you, Lord.
There you go. There you go. Well, I have to get with you offline so I can ask you where you got them from.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Who else do we have today? Who else do we have?
Kay Presley, New York.
Okay, New York. What's going on? New York. Are you in New York City or upstate?
City.
Okay, awesome. A lot of great people in the company out of New York doing great things, actually.
Absolutely.
Hey,
absolutely.
Happy October, Orlando, Florida.
Miss Gabby, what's up?
Everything.
I hear that. All right. We're going to get started here in just a quick second. Again, give you about 10 seconds to send out those last minute texts. Let them know that we have something special. Again, my name is Landon Taylor. I am out of Houston, Texas, representing for the leadership. I'm here at home, just have a new baby girl, so that's why I had to stay back. I'm just excited to share with you just something I've had an opportunity to just see just over the past few months. It's been absolutely amazing. So send out those last minute texts to your team, to your family members, to anyone that you know, and let them know that you have something special and that they need to be here because 2025 is going to be amazing. All right. So while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And if you can see the screen, just go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat if you can see the screen. You all see the screen? Yes? All right. All right. So again, last minute text. Let's get everybody going. I see some babies on the line. I'm excited to see that. All right, let me move this here so we can get this party started. All right, 1 second here. And if you've not announced where you're calling in from, let everybody know where you're calling in from.
Marva Packer, Maryland.
All right, Maryland in the building. You guys are going to have an awesome meeting here soon.
Laura Johnson, South Carolina.
Miss Johnson, how's it going? Miss Johnson, how's it going? Nice to see you.
Awesome, sir.
Awesome. All righty. Well, let's get going. Again, I won't hold you long because it doesn't take a long time to show you and for you to see the wonderful things that we have going on here, not only over the past year, but I mean, I don't even know if we're even a year old as a company, but listen, from what I hear and what's been happening right now, for those of you who just joined, you heard a gentleman, Mr. Philip Johnson, just smiling ear to ear because he's seeing this opportunity work for him just in the first couple of days of the year. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about Build Network, and one of the things that I love is that we are dealing with a company that not only deals with your pocketbooks, right, but it builds your mindset, it builds your business, and it builds your net worth. All right. So, what is build? So, before we go into anything else, I want to let everybody know that this is unlike anything that I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure it's unlike anything that any of you have ever seen because we are a high ticket vertical, four verticals with high potential. Now, for those of us who ever owned a home, we probably work with a real estate agent. And the realtors who work with us to get our homes, they work for a brokerage. So if you think about that model, that's exactly what we have. But the beautiful thing about what we have is we're not just in one industry, we're actually in four different industries. And I'm excited to show you what those four industries are. But let's talk about a little bit about why you want to build a business. And the reality is nobody is coming to save us. I mean, there used to be a time where entrepreneurship was a should, but now it's a must. And we all know what happens when you must do something, but you're teeting around in like, well, I should. And like I said last time in the presentation, if you keep living your life that way, you're going to be should out of luck, as my grandfather would say. So again, make sure that you are setting yourself up for success. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to see, but there are going to be a lot of things that don't make sense. But here's what I want to show you that does make sense. Why does it make sense? Right? Because right now we're dealing with a financial crisis. We're dealing with debt crisis. We're dealing with layoffs. We're dealing with inflations. I mean, just drop a me if you or anyone that you know have been impacted by anything on this screen. Higher taxes, right? Inflation, higher taxes. My taxes just for my home has gone up at least 30%. Higher interest rates, bankruptcies. And we're not just talking about bankruptcies of companies, we're talking about bankruptcies of people because the average American, I mean, they're filing bankruptcy over $500. We're talking about recessions, job displacements. We're looking at AI. I mean, every single day you're looking at, just different advertisements of AI avatars. You think they're regular people, but they're actually avatars. They're AI generated. And pretty soon, they're going to be coming for your job and coming for my job if you work a 9 to 5. So what are people turning to? People are turning to the gig economy. People out there driving Uber. My wife and I, we actually have had an Etsy store since 2018. People are turning to Airbnb, right, for a few different reasons. Number one, because they want to generate income. But number two, a lot of people can't really just afford their mortgages anymore. So they need to supplement their income. So now they're allowing strangers into their home. Many of them, they are still living there. People are also doing Shopify, right? So people are buying things off of Temu, right, and trying to see if it sells. But a lot of people are realizing that they'll have a bunch of inventory in their homes and they can't do anything with it, right? And you may say, well, Landon, that's a few people, but I don't know if anyone that I know is actually looking to start a business. Well, I'll tell you what. If you look at the screen, you can see about over 13 billion searches on how to start a business happen. So 9 times out of 10, you or someone have at least searched how to start a business at least once. If you look at YouTube or anything else, I mean that's the going thing right now. How to do this, how to do that. Well, you're in the right place to learn how to do something that is absolutely impactful. So, what do you do when you want to look for a business opportunity? Well, a few things that you want to look at. Number one, you want to look at industries with a big target market with a low penetration. Now, if we said that, hey, we're gonna be selling cell phones, you may say, a lot of people use cell phones. However, that that market is cornered. I mean, we're companies like AT&T, T-Mobile. I don't know if we can really make money in that land. And well, I tell you what, here's some things that you want to look for that's not saturated: essential goods and services, gas, electricity, water, things that people need. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to show you is an opportunity for you to tap into things that people need because we all know that when money is tight, people may not pay their mortgage, people may not pay their car note, but one thing they will pay is that light bill. One thing that they will pay is the water right? Drop a one in the chat if you think if you agree, because I know a few people that's been there. Also, you want to look at industries that thrive in good and bad economies. And again, tapping into those essential services will put you in a position where you are absolutely cornering that market and making sense. So, what do we offer? So I'll tease this a little bit, but I'll get right to it. We've partnered again with essential services that people absolutely need. We're talking about residential and commercial solar, and we're not just dealing with residential solar with just any old company. We are dealing with the number one installer in the United States. Not only that, and you may say, well, Landon, I've never heard of this company, and that's okay. But here's what I will tell you. Because we are dealing with the number one company in the nation in residential solar, I want you guys to guess who was the number one producer for the number one installer in the United States. I want you to take a guess. That's right. If you said Encore Solar, you are absolutely correct. Ladies and gentlemen, we are dealing with the number one installer in the nation, and we are the top producer for that. So, what does that mean for you? That means that you are partnering with a company that is not new to this. As the young people say, we're not new to this, we're true to this. So, you're dealing with a company that can absolutely show you how to make money, how to introduce this to customers. We also deal with, again, another essential services, water. Now, drop a 7 in the chat if you drink water. Now, I know every single person, everyone in the chat should drop a 7 because we all have to drink water to survive. But the issue is that many of us have not been raised in a place where we've had actually good water to drink. As a matter of fact, I said I'm in Houston, Texas, by way of Jackson, Mississippi, and here just recently, the city of Jackson has have been working, to solve a water crisis for the past few years. And we're not just talking about a water crisis where it's like, the water, it tastes a little funny. No, I mean, we're talking about the water being dangerous to actually drink. We're talking about water that's being consumed by you, your family, your children, your babies, and even unfortunately the people who we are caretakers for, right? So we deal with helping people to put fuel in their body by alkaline, beautiful, wonderful water. And we also deal with home security because we also know that, I mean, just given the fact that I showed you a slide with all of these depressing things, a recession, job displacement, different things like that. What happens when we all know what happens when things like that happen? Crime goes up. As a matter of fact, every 30 seconds in America, someone's home is being broken into. So why not being able to share with them the opportunity to secure their home, to secure their family, and secure their valuables? And here's one thing that I absolutely love, and I'm going to talk about everything that the money that's for all of these, but we're going to talk about Smart Money Club and what that means. Because a lot of people know how to make money, but most of us have not been taught how to save the money. So Landon, you say, Landon, that sounds good, but I came here to hear about the money. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about solar. Let's talk about residential solar. What if I told you that for one deal, you have the potential to make $6,000 to $10,000 on one deal? Now that's commercials. That's the residential solar. Commercial solar can be even greater, but we'll stick to residential solar right now. $6,000 to $10,000. Now, again, I said that the average American who's filed for bankruptcy did so because they needed an extra $500. As a matter of fact, most Americans don't have $1,000 saved up, right? And most people say that you need at least 6 months of salary to save up in your savings. But what if you could just do one solar deal? I mean, what if you just did one solar deal a month? What if you did one solar deal every few months? What would that do for your family? What would that do for yourself? Could you loosen up your belt just a little bit with $6,000 to $10,000? What about home security? You say, well, I know solar may take, a month or two, right, to get installed. Well, okay, we have a solution for that. What if you could just go down the street? What if you could, go down your Rolodex in your phone? I know all of us have at least 100 people in our phones. What if you could just simply send out a text message, say, hey, listen, do you have home security? And if you do, are you satisfied with them? If not, let me introduce you to a company that's been around since the 1800s, right? And you do that and you say, okay, perfect. And the company says, we'll pay you $500 to $700 the very next week. Now we're talking about some right now money. right? For those of you who, you don't want to wait for a solar just yet. Well, we have some right now money, and there's no cap on how many homes you can introduce this to. Gets even better. Talk about water. Everyone put a 7 in the chat. Everyone put a 7 in the chat a few minutes ago if you drank water. But again, if you saw the presentation that Mrs. Kim Bean does about water, you can't unsee it. We're talking about chlorine in the water. I mean, how many of you have heard about? I told you about Jackson, Mississippi, but everyone knows about Flint, Michigan, right? So put a 1 in the chat if you heard about what happened in Flint, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all one disaster away from having to boil our water for a very long time. As a matter of fact, not this past hurricane, but the hurricane that happened a few years ago here in Houston. I mean, a lot of the cities were under a boil water notice for at least 2 weeks. Right. So this isn't anything that we're making up. But what if you could share with people how to drink healthier water? $1,000 to $2,100. Again, the average American doesn't have $1,000 saved up. But you say, okay, now that I've made this money, I want to learn how to save it. And we have a system that will show you how to share this opportunity to help people how to save money. You can actually earn a residual income on that. But let's talk about solar. We'll talk about our flagship product, and we'll get out of here. So why do we want to get involved in the solar industry? I'll tell you why. Number one, timing and opportunity. We talked about a high target with low market penetration. 130 million homes in the U.S. 90 million are eligible for solar, and a little over 5 million have gone solar. Again, I'm going to brag on our company because we had something to do with that. 85 million homes are eligible and still currently don't have solar. So what does that mean? That means that right now you don't have to have the biggest piece of the pie. You can change your family's trajectory with just a few crumbs, right? Even if you had less than 1% of 85 million, you and your family would be doing all right. All right. So what does that look like? So I'm going to talk about this from my perspective as a customer. So I personally got solar even before I ever introduced it to anyone else because I needed it here in Houston. Why? Because I knew I could save up to almost 50% of my energy costs, and I did. Zero down financing, right? Blackout protection. Again, if you're living in right now, I used to say if you're living in any places with a hurricane, but we saw what's happening, the devastation that happened in to our friends in California. Prayers still going out to them, but you never know the blackout protection. I used to say it was just in those specific areas, but then I heard a story about a couple who the husband needed blackout protection because he was on a life-saving device. So if you think about the customers who, you may say, well, I'm not in the area where, hurricanes or natural disasters happen, but there may be someone on your own very street who may need this because they may need their electricity to stay on because they need to stay alive. Right. But we also talk about tax credits that's still in place, an immediate increase in value. Right. So we have a few realtors on the call who they've actually had a presentation on that, increase the value. Because why? Because I mean, people they're able to save money day one. In many cases, day one. Right. And we're also talking about clean energy. So in every 44 seconds, someone went solar in 2022. I believe in 2023, someone went solar every 39 seconds. So again, we're talking about opportunity. We're talking about real customer savings. We're talking about real value. So what do you see here? Right. I'll give you a few, just people in the chat. Just give me, what do you see here in the chat? Just type it in the chat real quick. What do you see? Some people say opportunity. I've seen naked roofs. I've seen a lot of things. But I'll tell you what I see here. I do see opportunity, but not just for solar. I see an opportunity for solar. I see an opportunity for home security. I see an opportunity for water. I see an opportunity for just someone being more financially stable, more financially astute. Here's what I love. Now, we love customer testimonials, and I smiled because again, Mr. Philip Johnson, he was on the line, and he was able to get a few solar deals. I was messing with him and joking with him, but what we do here is real. Here's one of the customer testimonials out of California. So we had a customer, and this was done by a realtor. So if you're on the line and you're a realtor and you say, well, I don't know, well, this was done by a realtor. $287 per month before solar. After solar, 148. Now, Mr. JC Rangel, who's the president of the bill, says solar cells isn't a presentation; it's an IQ test. Why is it an IQ test? Because I mean, to me, that math is simple. I think $148 per month is a lot cheaper than 287. Can you agree? But you say, well, again, Landon, what does that money look like on this deal? I came here to learn about the commission. Well, here's the commission: $6,400. Now I'm going to talk to you and break down what this means, the mentor mentee, but just take a snapshot in your mind right now. $3,200 split between the two. What does that mean? That means the mentee brought the deal to the table. What do you mean by that? That means that you are 4 steps away from a 4-figure commission. What are the 4 steps? Glad you asked. Number 1, you get started with us. Number 2, you ask someone for a bill and you get the bill. Number 3, you upload the bill to the back office system that we give you once you're there. So you don't have to worry about spreadsheets and any of that other craziness. The company gives you that. Number 4, you set up a meeting with the mentor. And what does the mentor do? The mentor does all the hard stuff. They build out all these nice fancy panels on the roof. They go through why their bill is high, right? We just don't do, okay, here's 287, now it's 148. Okay, give me your money. No, we take an educational approach. So rest assured that anyone that you bring to the table, they're going to actually be educated on why they need to go solar and why solar is beneficial for them. And again, 4 steps away. And this customer here earned $3,200 just for introducing this to someone that they already knew. Let's do another example before we get into the nuts and bolts. In Florida, again, math is simple. $290 is a lot cheaper than $410, which is a lot close to what we had here for my own home. What did that commission look like? $8,200. Again, 4 steps to 4 figures. What would you do with an extra $4,100? You know, I want you guys to just dream a little. You know, I know it won't, buy your Rolls Royce or anything, but what will $4,100 do? Could you pay down a few bills? Right? Could you finally go on that trip that you've been promising your family? What would that look like? Right? So again, we talked about the industry. We talked about why people go solar, but let's talk about the real numbers about energy costs over time. So the reality is we are still operating on the same grid that our great grandparents ran on. And I want you to know that the money that it takes to rebuild the grids is not going to come from the CEO's salary. I want you all to just really quickly type in the chat. Who do you think will pay for the increase in the grid being rebuilt? The $1 trillion construction project in rebuilding the grid. I just want you to answer that. Who's going to pay for that? Because that is the reason why a lot of these annual increases are happening. I know in the last disaster we had for Hurricane Beryl, we had to actually import, from California, Florida, Louisiana, other people had to come in to help us get back on track with our electricity. People were without energy for weeks. And our company who supplies the energy center point, they actually came out and said, you're going to see an increase because someone has to pay for it. So who has to pay for it? All right. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the world's largest and oldest monopoly. So that's why Warren Buffett said the energy deregulation will be the largest transfer of wealth in history. When someone says that a transfer is happening, what does that mean? That means the wealth is already there. So we talked about how do you go into an industry that has a high target market but a low penetration? We're going to talk about that transfer. So I'm not going to go over all 7. We're going to talk about a few things and get back with the person who invited you if you want to go a little bit deeper. But we're going to talk about first personal sales. So I talked about the commission that happened in a few of those examples. What I love about this company is this company is very generous. I mean, 70% of the commissions on a personal sale. I mean, that's unheard of. I mean, so let's just use $10,000 as an example, right? We're going to use the $10,000 as the average install. What does that mean? $7,000. This is one deal. Again, the average American, if they're filing bankruptcy, is filing bankruptcy on $500. Average American doesn't have $1,000 saved up. What would $7,000 do just by sending out a text message or picking up the phone and or just walking up and down your street asking people? Because I mean, you can look on Facebook and people are talking about how high their energy bill is. I mean, that's not hard to do. But what if you wanted to become a mentor? Because remember, I told you the 4 steps to 4 figures, right? And at the end of that, there was a mentor who closed those deals. How do you become a mentor? Well, a few simple steps. Number one, you do 3 training sales. What does that mean? When you give your 4 steps, you give the bill, you set up the appointment, you stick around and you learn how they are actually closing those sales. Then you learn how to close 5 sales on your own. And then you complete a short company certification, and boom, you are now a mentor. The company, as Mr. Sam Bean says, VP of Sales, they put your name and lights, and anyone in the company, if they chose to, can select you to close their deals. Now, that's where a lot of the real money is coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had some people make some really great income. I mean, people like Mr. Jabari Sadler, I mean, he did 29 deals in a month, right? But what if you could help 4 people just close their training sales, right? That's 12 sales, average of 3,500. Because remember, use that $10,000 number, 70% of the commission was 7,000, 50/50 is 3,500. That's how we got to that math. So 12 sales at 3,500, $42,000 in commission. I mean, in reality, most people aren't earning that in a year. Most people for sure are not taking home that in a year. So what would an extra $42,000 do for you? I mean, some people are making that, you know, 1 sale a month, 2 sales a month. I mean, what would that do for you and your family? So I want to talk to anyone who's ever thought about just building a team, and not just doing it on your own, right? So everything that I talked to you about and everything from here on out is just absolutely, you don't have to build a team, but I want you to humor me for a moment. What if you could just introduce this to a few people and they said, you know what? I think I could share with a few people that, I could share, a text message or pick up the phone and ask people if their energy bill has been higher over the last year. Yeah, I can do that. Well, let's say that happens. The company will pay you 20% frontline overrides. You say, well, where does that come from? Glad you asked. So remember when we had the $10,000 example and we said that the company pays out 70% on the personal sale. That means that an extra $3,000 was left over, right? The 20% comes from the $3,000 that was left over. So if you referred the deal, you're still going to get your 70%. But if someone that you referred made a sale themselves, you would get 20% frontline overrides. And it goes all the way up to 45% frontline overrides. I won't get into the nuts and bolts of that, but I will say that once you get to the level of executive director, you're talking about company ownership. You're talking about 2% in all of the sales that are happening inside of the company. Do you all remember the first thing that I opened up with was that we deal with the number 1 installer in the nation, and we have been the number 1 producer for that company. So can you imagine what 2% of a company-wide pool would do? Just extra, just by helping people make money, all the way up to national director where you're getting 5%. And these are done on production. We don't do politics. You don't get a promotion because someone likes you. You get a promotion because someone produces. And again, we have the best of the best. I mean, we're talking about presentations being done daily, multiple times a day. So there's no excuse for anyone to make money. As Mr. Bean says, Sam Bean says, if you don't make money here, it's not our fault, it's yours. All right. So let's do a few examples and we get out of here for the evening. So let's just do a few hypotheticals. Let's just say you've reached the point where you've introduced this to a few people and you have 10 consultants doing one deal each, right? So one deal that's happening, four coming from your first level, six coming from anywhere else on your team. You're looking at $6,300 in overrides. That means this is $6,300 on deals that you had nothing to do with. But let's just say you did a deal on your own. Right now, you're closing your own deals, so you're getting the full 7,000. You're now looking at $13,300. Now that could be in a month, that could be in 2 months, that could be in 3 months. But again, an extra $13,000 plus in your bank account just by sharing with people how to save money on their energy. Let's do it. Let's double it. Let's say you got a promotion, right? You're looking at almost $250,000 a year. You're looking at 13,800 in overrides on deals that you did not have anything to do with. You did a deal on your own. Now you're looking at over $20,000 in income. Again, in a month, year, doesn't matter. It's an extra additional $20,000 just by sharing what we have. Let's go even higher. At the highest level, now you're rolling. Now you've shared this with a few people. People are seeing that, the post that you're sharing on Instagram have changed. You're no longer just sharing a few burgers and fries. You're now sharing steak and lobster. All right. So what do they see? They ask you, hey, Tim, what are you doing, man? Yeah, I see, your car is washed a little bit more these days, man. What's going on? You say, I'll tell you, I'm helping people save some money. I can show you how to do the same thing. So right now, you're dealing with a little over $67,000 in overrides. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. And when you see the cost of getting started to partner with this company, $67,000 in overrides is wow. Right. So we're talking about the opportunity to share with people, to do more, to be more, to make more. But again, my favorite, the Smart Money Club. We're talking financial mastery. Now, I know a lot of people have been hearing about these different coins and, Bitcoin and stocks and all of this great stuff. How many of you have said, I wouldn't mind learning a little bit about that, right? But what if I told you that partnering with us, you also learn, you learn that. We actually have an app. We have certified professionals who are uh, great at what they do, top leaders in their own company, partner with us. What if you could build your own credit? A lot of people know that, credit, you want to build your own credit. You don't want to pay someone, $500,000 to repair your credit. What if you could just partner with us and start working on your credit? Tax planning. How about being your own bank? You know, what if you could stop people that you know and love from getting those payday loans, right? I know that was a big thing here in Houston. People were getting those predatory loans. What if you can help them not do that? Tax-free retirement, entity structuring. What about establishing corporate credit? That's something I needed to learn. Access to capital, understanding good and bad debt. Again, we're not just talking about teaching people how to make money, but how to save money. As a matter of fact, there was a documentary, I think on ESPN, called Broke, where you had multi-millionaires who were in the NFL, NBA, squandered all their money away, made a lot of money, but they did not know how to save it, how to invest it. Ladies and gentlemen, when you partner with us, you get absolutely everything that we showed you before and how to make money. But the key is how to keep money, because retirement is not a destination, it's actually a number. And most of us don't know what that number is for us to actually retire. As a matter of fact, if you're a baby boomer, you need about $1 million. If you're a Gen X, you need about 2 million. But if you're a millennial or Gen Z, you need $3 to $4 million to retire as of today. That's not including inflation that's happening next year and on. So we have to get serious about our money. And how would we get serious about our money? We start to save. Here's one of my favorites. And I know Miss Carla has heard this a million times, but a lot of you have not heard me present. So I'm going to tell you about why I love this. So, we have a little baby girl right now, but at the time I was doing the presentation before, this was one of my favorites. Why? Because we were able to save on restaurants. My wife had those funny cravings that would happen in the middle of the night, and me being the the knight in shining armor, I would go out and I would do it. But first, I would have to go to my Bill Rewards app and make sure that I check that first to see if there were any savings. We also did a wonderful staycation at a few different hotels, and we were able to save money. But in reality, what if you could partner with us and not only save money on learn how to save money in your bank account, but learn how to save money on the everyday things that you do with your family, with your loved one. Over $50,000 restaurants, and we're not just talking about Wendy's, those funny little cravings, but we're talking about like real places like Ruth Chris Steakhouse and other different steakhouses you could save money on. Valentine's Day is coming up, fellas. I mean, if nothing else, get the membership, save money on Valentine's Day, for the husbands out there. I mean, get a nice hotel, save money there, save money on the restaurants, the retailers, travel providers. I mean, we even have something that's coming up that the president and VP introducing the CEO, that we're going to have one of the best travel portals in the world that's going to be right here. That's going to be a part of the perks. So the average savings for a member here, about $2,500 to $3,500 per year. But again, these are just perks of being a member with our company. So what I'm going to show you here is, I don't want you to overthink this, but here's what I want you to look at. Again, I want you to just look at Builder 4000. You may say, well, why do I want you to look at Builder 4000? Because Builder 4000 is where most people truly see transformation happen. Because for most Americans, that's going to take care of your mortgage and a car payment or two, right? So how do you get there? You say, yeah, that's a lot of people. Well, here's what I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to put this in the chat. How many of you know two people that like you? Put a 2 in the chat if you know at least two people that like you. Now you need 6 to carry you up out of here. So I mean, everyone in the chat needs to put a 2 in the chat. But here's the thing, again, what I'm talking about here is absolutely optional. But again, in the beginning, we said that entrepreneurship used to be a should, but now it's a must. These are active members. And you say, well, what is a member? What are you talking about? Well, remember what I showed you about saving money on the everyday things that you do to eat? Remember, we talked about Smart Money Club. Those are memberships. Now, you may say, I don't know. I don't really talk to people about anything. Well, I'll tell you what. If you go on your Netflix subscription, your Hulu subscription, I want you to look at the #1 movies and #1 shows. How do you think they got to #1? They got to #1 because people told them about those shows. If you look on any viral video on TikTok or any viral video on Instagram, how do they become viral? Because people share them. As a matter of fact, I mean, I was hearing Aaron Pierre, that's Mufasa, for the last month. And I know a lot of people on this call have heard that as well. How do we get that? Because people are sharing. But what if you could just share with a few people how to make money and save money and earn an extra $500 residually on the memberships that they already get when they partner with us? This isn't anything extra. This is in addition to everything that we have, right? So again, if you know two people, that can be the life-changing measure in your life. Right now, an extra $500 a month could keep you from bankruptcy. An extra $1,000 a month could absolutely change your life. But Build to 4,000 is where a lot of people have seen transformations happen at that market, 4,000 a month. And listen, these aren't numbers that you have to do for yourself. This is a team effort. This isn't anything that you have to go out and share with the world. Right? We're asking you just to share with a few people. The company says that if you help us become the largest and best and brightest in the world, that we will absolutely pay you and give you a reward for that. So I won't stay on this too long, but I will say that many of the subscriptions that we have right now on our phones, on our TVs, those CEOs are benefiting from every single person that has a subscription. What Build is doing right now is giving you the opportunity to do the same by offering someone a subscription to save money, to make money, to change their lives, and to insulate their families from that long list of financial depressions that's been happening. So that's all for me. But how do you get started? under $200. Ladies and gentlemen, for a 3-figure decision, you can absolutely change the course of your life. I don't know anywhere right now where you can pay 3 figures for 4 legitimate businesses. Now, here's the thing. Now, I'm a tech guy, and for many people on the line, they know what I do. I do a lot of different things, but I talked about my wife and I owning an Etsy store, right? It cost us more than that, not only to start it, but to operate it. And then the company says that, you know, once you refer 4 people, we'll waive your $99 a month. And let me tell you what the $99 gets you. And it alludes here, it says all the tech and trainings. We have a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager, that by itself is over $200 per month in value. And I can say that in full confidence because I actually have the independent version of it. So nowhere that I know where, number one, you can get 4 businesses where you can earn at least 4 figures in each, but also have no overhead with all the training from the best and the brightest in the world. I mean, to me, you know, Mr. Rangel said the solar sales presentation isn't a presentation, it's an IQ test. To me, this is the best kept secret in business, and this is simply an IQ test. We're showing people how to save money, how to protect their family, how to protect their bodies with better water, and how to protect their valuables in their financial future and save money and also make money. So with that being said, it was an absolute pleasure. Get back with the person who introduced this to you. Let them know that you appreciate them sharing this with you, and let them know where you stand. And I absolutely look forward to each and every one of you on the next call and meeting each and every one of you at the next leadership event, because again, we are all leaders and we all hope to be there someday. So with that being said, I want everybody to take care, take charge, and I'll see you over the moon, because the sky is never the limit. All right. Everybody have a good night.
Awesome presentation.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Excellent
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
presentation.
Very
Ms.
good.
Taylor, fire.
Excellent presentation, Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was
Thank you
awesome.
very
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Taylor.